Hi everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you are having a really good day. I'm just letting the chickens out. Are we ready? Here we go. Out you go, chickens. My old chickens, obviously, just taking their time. And then in about 30 seconds, the youngsters will come tearing down. They are about half grown now. They are 9 weeks old. And they're a little bit wary of the adults. So they sit there at the top of the coop steps until they think nobody else is going to chase them or have a go at them. And then off they go. I'm going to give them a bit of encouragement. Go on, out you go. Come on. Come on, out you go. You can do this. I believe in you, chickens. They're still getting used to the whole coop thing. There they go, running around the yard. Things are a lot cooler today than they were a couple of days ago. Mercifully, the heat wave appears to have broken, which is fantastic news. It does mean that hopefully we'll get better weather in the coming days and we won't get the huge temperatures that we have been getting, which the chickens have not enjoyed one little bit. For those of you who are also interested in what's going on with the chickens and the garden, let me bring you through. The attack of the gophers continues. They've taken the last of our peas. They've taken most of our broad beans or our fava beans. And one of the things that's growing the best this year are our volunteer broccolis. We didn't plant this broccoli. This was just from a seed that was left here last year. And you can see we've got some more heads coming on as opposed to the ones over there, which have been consumed by whitefly and blackfly, much to the chickens' delight. But obviously that is not what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you today about things that you think are not necessarily the greenest, but you still do, either because it's part of a hobby you have, or because there isn't really a green way of doing it. And every time you do the thing, you feel guilty about the fact that things are not necessarily going as well as you would hope. I've got some lovely beans coming in here. Look at this. Got some broad beans. Wonderful. Not broad beans, runner beans. I haven't had any coffee yet this morning. So for me, one of those things is, as many of you know, I dress up as a giant fluffy animal. I go to kids' hospitals when we don't have COVID. I go to public events where we work with charities and things and entertain people at events. And I have a couple of different characters that I dress up as. They're not like from cartoons or TV or anything. They're my own creations. There's Chimichanga the Fox, there's Queenie Deerheart, and then I have a couple of others that I'm working on at the moment. I suppose I also have Chrissy, who's a slightly different character to Queenie. The two are connected. I'm not going to go into the folklore of my own characters, but I dress up as a giant fluffy animal and I call it freelance mascotting. And I sometimes also go to conventions, do cosplays and also dress up for conventions. The costumes that I wear, the giant fursuits, are not, as the name suggests, made of animal fur. That would be a bit weird. They're made of basically carpet material. Faux fur, and the faux fur is generally made using man-made fabrics. They're derived from plastics, some nylon and some other things in there, and it's the same as the carpet that you put on the floor. It's one of the reasons why you have to hydrate when you're performing. You have to wear a cooling vest and make sure you have lots of fluid because it gets really hot inside those. And the materials that those costumes use, they're big, they're heavy, they're not made necessarily in particularly environmentally friendly ways. And so I try and mitigate that by looking after my costumes. I think my Chimichanga Fox costume is about 6 years old now, and Queenie is coming up to 5 years old, although the character herself is immortal. She's very, very old. And so I try and keep those costumes for as long as I absolutely can. I make sure that I wash them, I care for them, I brush them out and make sure that the fur doesn't get matted. That's one way I ensure that even though I have a hobby that involves something that is not necessarily the most environmentally conscious to produce, that I'm still mindful of the carbon footprint of that. And I'm working on a costume at the moment for one of my characters, and again, when I'm producing that costume, I'm sewing it and I'm making it. I'm trying to make sure that all of the cuts I make are accurate, so I don't have to use extra fabric. I'm trying to make sure that when I'm laying the pattern out, I'm being as efficient as I possibly can with the pattern. And I'm also keeping my eye out, because there are people working to make faux fur fabric that is more sustainable, either using recycled materials or something else. Thank you very much, Charlie. I'm going to walk past my corn. Do you like my corn? We don't really have much in the way of corn growing yet. We do have wonderful tassels on the corn. 3 different types of corn there, just in case you're interested. But it might not be dressing up as a giant fluffy animal that you think of as being the thing that you really enjoy doing, that is not necessarily great for the planet. Maybe it is jumping out of a plane. Maybe you enjoy skydiving and you just love the thrill of flying up in the air and then jumping out of a plane and doing skydiving. Maybe like my mascotting, my fursuiting. Maybe you've also, like me, raised a lot of money for charity by doing that thing, and yet the actual act of going up in a plane and flying up high and then jumping out uses significant carbon emissions. So the chickens are currently having a bit of a fight to see who is boss. And as soon as I turn the camera around, they stop, because that's what chickens do, apparently. And there's another chicken behind going, "What's going on? Run, run, run." They don't like being separated. They are very social animals. Maybe you're a gardener and you use peat in your garden, and peat is not necessarily the most sustainable thing, and it's not great. And again, maybe you use it because you find it to be the best thing, but it also makes you worried because you worry about the impact of doing that. So I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. What is it that you do, that you regularly do, that you look at and you go, you know what, that's not necessarily good for the planet, and I wish that there was a cleaner, greener, safer and smarter way of doing that. Maybe you've investigated a cleaner, greener, safer and smarter way of doing that. Let me know. I mean, I know, just throwing in another example, my wife, Kate, she does woodworking. She makes lots of cool things when she's woodworking, and she's done some really amazing things over the years, made stuff for the house, made our bed and our furniture. And by the way, it's our wedding anniversary today, so happy anniversary. She's over there, she just heard me say that. And she really enjoys woodworking, but again, there are certain types of woods that are not sustainable, and so she tries to avoid using those woods at all costs. She tends to use a lot of the woods from managed forests in our area. Just across the way from us, someone is actually basically clear cutting some trees across the way, and it's been breaking our heart because our office faces the road and every day we see all these logging trucks head down the road. But she tries to buy from local suppliers who are managing the forests, who are being responsible about managing the forests. And so then her hobby is a lot greener than it would otherwise be. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also to subscribe to our other 2 channels, Transport Evolved Shorts and the main Transport Evolved channel. I don't have the list of names this week. I'm sorry, I came out to record and then I realised I don't have the list of names, but thanks to the folks on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month Patreon supporters. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we are doing. Thank you so much. If you have joined the Patreon ranks this last week, lots of you have. I've been really blown away by how many of you have joined the ranks. There's been some really amazing people joining up. We even had someone become a yearly Starman this week. So you know who you are. Thank you very much. You're going to be added to the list tomorrow. So there'll be a new $100 a month Patreon name to read out. Thank you so much to everybody for joining and supporting, because without you, we just wouldn't be able to grow the channel. And we've had quite a few expenses this month. We've had to buy Winter a machine so he can help with editing. We've also had to buy Kit a machine so she can help with the social media, because they're now both of them officially on the Transport Evolved team. They are now hourly members of staff, which it just blows my mind. Hopefully we'll have an update this week for you for the bolts. We haven't heard anything from Chevrolet yet on either car. So I'm going to ring back and really kind of say, hey, what's going on? There's some really horrible things we're hearing about bolts being bricked during the recall procedure. So again, we're dubious here. I think we probably are, as much as it saddens me, going to get rid of both the bolts and do an MSRP swap for mine if it's offered, and a buyback for Kate's if it's offered. I think Kate's probably going to go and get another car. I will stick with Chevrolet for the short term if they offer me an MSRP swap, because I think that would probably get me into a Bolt EUV just temporarily. We have, as you know, we've got a couple of orders for new cars, and we would need a stopgap measure vehicle, which we'd then hopefully be able to trade in for the vehicles we've got on reservation. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. Keep